Everyone knows how crazy the hype is for College Football 25, and it's probably one of the most hyped up sports games in a very, very long time. The main reason being, we haven't had a college football game in about 11 years. So, some people were worried for various reasons, main one being a Madden reskin, but the recent reveals have shut them up for the most part, and here is what I see as the general reaction for the timeline of College Football 25 when it comes out, how people are going to react, and what people are going to say it from July all the way until next spring and the coming year. With that being said, let's just get straight into it, starting when the game releases. This coming July, everyone will obviously be very happy to finally get their hands on College Football 25. For the most part, we will be completely blind to any problems, and what I mean by that is we will just choose to ignore them, and instead we're going to focus on the good things and the stuff we have been waiting for all this time. At least that's coming from me, who I like to see the positive side of things, and I'm not going to start calling out their game with all the bad things it does as soon as it comes out, because I understand they've only had a couple years to work on it, so there are going to be some things that need to be tweaked a little bit. And I trust EA to work those out later on, and I believe that they'll do their best to make sure the game is balanced and it stays fun, and you don't have these broken plays. But for the most part, everyone will be terrible the first at least month, except for like the 20 people that played it before, because we've seen these passing mechanics, and I really think everyone watching this video who's gonna buy this game, we have to take in this month or so of where everyone's terrible and everyone's kind of confused on what to do, because that's probably going to be the most fun, because when you get into the later months, people are going to start figuring out and becoming really good. But that first month, it's going to be irreplaceable, because as the franchise continues, it'll be the same game, but that first month, everyone will just be kind of thrown in there and just go have fun a little bit. So I'm really, really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping it doesn't go by too quickly and people don't get too good at the game too quickly, because then it kind of ruins the fun. But at the end of the day, I know the game's going to be fun 12 months from now, so I'm not too worried about, the tryhards ruining the game, but I just wanted to say that when everyone's bad, it's probably going to be the most fun it ever is. Of course, you can't have anything nowadays with people hating on it, so there will be people that point out and post all about how it stinks and how they did stuff wrong, but I do have hope that for the most part, people will be on board and saying that it's a great game. But I just want to point out, that there are going to be people that say the game is horrible and they're never going to play it, even though it's all they post about. The type. It's happened before in other games. So one more thing I wanted to mention about the very beginning of the game when it first comes out is that, right now a lot of people are worried about Ultimate Team, and they're worried about the microtransactions, more specifically that it's going to be pay to win and all this stuff. But I believe that when the game releases, the people that like Ultimate Team will play it and they'll have a good time, and the people that don't will mind their own business and do the other game modes, and it won't matter at all. Like, people can't get mad at microtransactions. There most likely won't be in Road to Glory or Dynasty. I don't think they'd sabotage those game modes with that. So I do think those can coexist with each other, kind of. Like, there's not going to be this huge rip between the microtransactions, Ultimate Team. It's infecting the other ones, or you can kind of understand what I mean. Like, people are worried about it, but you don't have to play Ultimate Team, and at the end of the day, if you don't, then you probably won't have to deal with microtransactions at all. So it's really just a choice. So I really don't see it becoming a big of a deal as everyone is making it out to be. Now, for the month of July, the game will be everywhere, and I fully believe that almost every streamer, YouTuber, content creator will pick it up and play it at least once, even the ones that have no clue, like they don't follow football. I do think it'll be that big of a game that people will still pick it up, almost like Fall Guys. If you can remember in 2020 when you saw every streamer play it for like a week and then they dropped it, I could see the same thing happening with college football. And you may disagree with me, but if it comes out good and it gets some traction, it could just be that kind of game that just goes crazy for a couple weeks and then everyone kind of moves on, except for the people that were hyped about it before it even came out, and it's probably you if you're watching this video. Getting into the fall, like October and September, EA will start to make tweaks and do just kind of content updates, probably most likely for Ultimate Team, because they want to keep that going. And again, I don't blame them. They're not going to update Road to Glory halfway through the season, but for the most part, the game will stay the same. They'll fix bugs. They'll change little things, I guess, if people complain. I hope they do, at least. I hope they don't just put it out and then let people play it and don't listen to the fan base, because other games like 2K right now are doing that. So we can hope that EA actually follows through and continues to update this game throughout the fall. Not too major updates, but like just some small tweaks, like I was saying. So there will be different speed runs, I assume, and different kind of challenges that people do to add some spice to the game after just playing it over and over. More specifically, YouTubers. Like, I could even see myself doing some sort of challenge on there. So I could see, them just trying to do something new. Like, people will do the Imperialism type stuff and different kind of tournaments with that. So we'll see some of that, maybe even into August and July when people are fresh on the game and there's a ton of the hype I mentioned about earlier. They'll try to capitalize off that and do some challenges, but I could see later in the kind of fall towards December, November, when people really start to mix things up and create new challenges, and these unique ideas are the ones that are going to go viral. So that's what I see happening in terms of the content creation side of things going into, later after the game has already been kind of run dry of just its gameplay. People are going to want to start to see different things. Throughout the fall, new players will obviously filter in through sales. They'll probably bring down the price $20, and then there will be birthdays throughout the fall too, where people get the game. And then there will be the Christmas noobs. Almost in every game, at least every yearly release, we see people getting the game for Christmas, and then they don't really know how to play. And especially with a game like this where no one really knows how to play right now, so people will just be horrible, especially when they pick it up even in December after there's already been stuff. From what I've heard, the people that have played it have said that the gameplay has a very, very steep learning curve. So it'll probably be apparent in the fall if this is someone's first time playing it. I think also in December, we'll look back at July and look at some of the clips and think how bad we were at the game, because that happens with everything. Like even Rocket League, you look at 2015 and say, how are these dudes the best in the world? Those are horrible plays. So it's going to be the same thing, just on a much tighter scale. Like I mentioned earlier, once people get over that learning curve, it's going to pretty much flatten out and everyone will be at their, designated skill level like a lot of other games. So we don't really know how close the gameplay is to Madden. People say it's very different, but if it is very different, I still think the people that have played Madden are going to have a leg up on the people that haven't played football games, just because there's going to be similar things. Like defense is going to be similar. They can't make a whole new defense. So I think that Madden pros will be pros at this game once they get over that learning curve, like I mentioned earlier. So that's what I could see happening. There will also be broken plays. It's impossible to avoid. I just hope that EA does their best to get them under control as soon as they come out. So they need to be constantly watching the player base and seeing what's going on in terms of the broken plays and brokenness of the game. Next spring is when the player base is going to start to dwindle, I think, because that's after college football is already over. So it doesn't really have that going for it. And it'll already be kind of played through, the replayability. Obviously, the diehard fans will still be there. If you're watching this video right here, I'd imagine you'll still be playing in spring. But for the most part, I think people will move on to different games and then say, I'll just wait for the next game to come out and see what it has in store. And once again, I already made a video on this, but I think 26 will be more polished and refined, but not a whole lot of new features. But the player base will drastically plummet in the fall of 26 because of a certain other big game that has been confirmed to be coming out in the fall of 2025. And if you don't know what I'm alluding to, GTA 6 comes out most likely. I think Rockstar came out and said most likely fall of 2025. So most of the people will probably stop playing college football at least for a month to go play that. So that's what I have for the fan reaction and how the fans are gonna react, I guess, to what the game is and what the timeline looks like for the next about year or so for college football and college football 26. So with that being said, if you did watch this far, thank you so much for sticking around for another video, and I will see you in the next one.